Erikson's Psychosocial Theory of Development. Student goals for today. I will present Erikson's theory. We are going to identify the elements on which his theory is based. I'm going to describe each stage of his theory, and I'm going to identify conflicts to solve on each one of the stages. Erikson is known as a father of psychosocial development. His theory was influenced by Sigmund Freud and Anna Freud. He was interested in the influence of society and culture on children's development. He studied groups of American Indian children to help formulate his theory. He developed different theories, however, the most famous is this one, the psychosocial development. His theory
is what Erikson's theory is about.
That he believed that behavior is influenced by the person's culture. According to him,
people have the opportunity to mature or fail when struggles arise. He also believed that human beings go through psychosocial stages of development. Each stage is associated with different efforts and a problem to solve.
His theory integrates personal, emotional, and social development. He divided lifespan into eight
psychosocial stages.
His theory is based on three major elements, where they are ego identity, ego strength, and conflict. In the first one, identity is developed by human interaction and how individual becomes more conscious of themselves and their surroundings. Ego strength deals with an individual becoming competent in different areas of life. By becoming competent in life, they feel more important. The conflict is the turning point during which struggles to attain some psychological quality. This can be a time for both vulnerability and strength as the individual works towards success or failure. These are the 8 stages of psychosocial development that he presented, starting with trust versus mistrust, and with the last one, integrity versus despair. I'm going to explain each one of the stages, starting with the first one, stage 1, we start from the child's birth to 18 months. The conflict on this stage is trust versus mistrust, and the person is going to ask all the time, can I trust the world? On this stage, children must trust on others for care. They need to have reliable caregiving, and the infant needs to meet all his needs. Kids who are not well cared will develop mistrust. Children are completely dependent. If they trust, that trust is established when babies are received touch, love, and physical care. Mistrust is caused when, on the other hand, there is no good care. There is cold, indifferent, and rejecting parents. Stage 2 starts on 18 months to 3 years, and the conflict to be solved is autonomy versus shame and doubt. Question: is it okay to be me? In this stage, children are discovering their own independence. How you can see on the picture, look at the child doing his own things. Those given the opportunity to experience independence will gain a sense of autonomy. Children that are overly restrained or punished hardly will develop shame. Children on this stage are discovering their independence, as I said before. They want to be autonomy where they can do things for themselves, or they can be shamed because they were overprotective or ridiculing from the parents. On stage 3, that is from 3 to 5 years, the conflict is naming initiative versus guilt. All the time is going to be asking, it's okay for me to do, to move, to act. All the time is asking what is needs approve on what it's doing. The preschoolers learn to plan out and carry out of their objectives. The sense of accomplishment leads to initiative, but feeling of culpability can emerge if the child is made to feel too worried or irresponsible. Both initiative and guilt should be balanced. Parents reinforce giving children freedom to play, use imagination, and ask questions. This is when the child is initiative. On the other hand, guilt may occur if parents criticize, prevent play, or discourage a child's question. Next stage is stage 4. Starts from 6 and it ends at 12 years. The conflict, industry versus inferiority. What is the question? Can I make it in the world of people and things? This is the stage of life. Sense of competence and accomplishment leads to industry. Or feeling incompetent and unproductive leads to inferiority. Children have to cope with new social and academic demands. Industry occurs when child is praised, or inferiority occurs if child's efforts are regarded. Stage 5 is from 12 to 18 years. The conflict, identity versus confusion. What is the question? Who am I? What can I be? On this stage, the child develops sense of who one is and where one is going in life. Successful resolution leads to positive identity. Unsuccessful, it will lead to confusion. On this stage, children learn a number of different roles. Identity occurs when an individual's determinations, abilities, beliefs, and experience lead into consistent image of self. Confusion, failure to establish an individual identity. On stage 6, my stage, 19 to 40 years, the conflict is intimacy versus isolation. The question is, can I love? On this stage is the time for sharing and hold commitment with others. Failure to establish commitment leads to isolation. This is the stage when the individuals start families. They either have intimacy, where they care about others, or isolation, where they feel alone. On stage 7, 40 to 65 years, the conflict is generativity versus stagnation. Question, can I make my life count? This is the time for caring for others that leads to sense of contribution to later generations. Stagnation comes from a sense of monotony and insignificance. Primary development task is one of contributing to society and helping to guide future generation. In generativity, there is an interest in guiding the next generation. Stagnation, when one is only concerned about your own needs. Last stage is stage 8, that starts on 65 years to death. The conflict is integrity versus despair. Question, is it okay to have been me? Successful resolution leads to those in early stages. Despair arises with sense that life has been incomplete. In this stage of life, individuals look back over their lives and judge them. Integrity is when people have lived richly and responsibly. Despair occurs when previous life events are viewed with regret. Of course, his theory has oppositors. And what do they say? They say that there are ambiguous terms and concepts. They also complain about the experiences on stage may only apply to male. They said that he didn't explain how the child moved from stage to stage, and that he didn't explain how crises are resolved within each stage. To summarize my presentation, let's see that according to Erikson theory, behavior is based on cultural experiences. Erikson 8 developmental stages give people an idea on what to expect through life. Each person has the ability to choose their path when it comes to solve their conflicts. According to his theory, when conflicts arise, people have the opportunity to grow or fail equally. ¿Qué tú dices de ahí?